Welcome to Learning Life Skills Together. This is our weekly community Zoom meeting where our guests help us to go deeper into the 4 life skills and open up a huge array of chances to practice them. Hello, everyone. This is number 75 in our series of weekly Zoom meetings for learning life skills together. And this time I have with me Sean Halloran, who runs Barnstone Art for Kids, which is a fabulous place for kids and for parents in Phoenixville. And so I'm really looking forward to talking with my friend Sean because we've been together before and I know there's a lot we both want to say. But before we do, as always, we're going to bring ourselves into a place where maybe we can listen a little more deeply and maybe Sean and I can speak a little more deeply. So if you'd like, you could close your eyes if you're in a place or a situation where you can do that. Sometimes that helps to get in touch with what's going on with you on the inside. So we're just going to settle in for a minute, just feeling what it's like in the body. Just noticing how the muscles are, where there's tightness, maybe where there's more softness. Maybe noticing the posture that you've chosen, seeing if it's one that brings you ease and comfort. You know, you can always move. You can always adjust yourself. So adjusting yourself as you need just to settle. And so feeling your body in the posture that you're choosing, feeling the fact that gravity is holding you so you don't have to put forth a lot of effort to be here, to be in this place, in this way, in this time that we're sharing together. So just taking a moment to feel yourself present. Feel yourself right here, right now. Some people find that they settle in a little more if they notice that they're breathing. Not doing anything special with your breathing, just noticing it. Or just feeling your body the way it is. And now I want to invite you in into a little experiment. And so this experiment is going to involve opening your eyes, but I'm not asking you to do it yet. And so you know where you are. And if there's some place within your range of your eyes that would be interesting to look at, other than the screen of your phone or computer, maybe you could sort of move your head in that direction. And then when you're ready, opening your eyes and just noticing what it's like to see. Literally, what is it like to see? since your eyes have been closed. Maybe things are a little new, just a tiny bit. And when you're ready, you could look back at the screen. And so I don't know what's happening with the folks who are listening, but I can find out what's happening with Sean. So Sean, how was that for you?
It was really relaxing. Um, I became aware as I kind of took your invitation and closed my eyes. I became aware of some tension in my jaw and some tension in my shoulders, and I was able to relax my torso and kind of let my body weight exist in the chair, as it were. And
Hmm.
felt very, very relaxed and started to kind of allow myself to think about some of the imagery you were talking about, right? Places that are very, very
Yeah.
comfortable. So it was thank you. It's a really nice, nice
All right. So I wanted to give us sort of a focus on the visual as well as the body with some ease, right? Because that's what we want with our kid for our kids is for them to be able to go through the world with some ease. And in our exploration of the four life skills, we're on the third skill mainly right now, which is the skill of resilience or the skill of getting through tough times with some ease.
so important.
Because we can't work on the problem. We can't work on what's going on all the time. That doesn't even make sense. We need to be able to refresh ourselves, to get outside of ourselves, to get into a bigger space. And Barnstone is already a
That's it.
bigger space. So I want to say this up front and then we'll say it again at the end, which is that Barnstone Art for Kids and Learning Life Skills Together are putting on a program together at Barnstone in Phoenixville on Saturday, June 14th from 10 to noon. And so it's a time for the kids to really get involved in art, in making things, and it's a time for parents, maybe, if they want to learn more about the four life skills, and particularly this one of resilience, because we all want resilient kids. That's what we're all aiming for.
Very good.
So, Sean, maybe you could help us understand what Barnstone is all about and what might be happening.
It's so wonderful that we're focusing on resilience for this module, and LLST has really been um, resonating with our families from our first presentation. So everybody is really looking forward to the upcoming presentation. Um, the work that is being done there is just very congruous with what Barnstone's overall mission and focus is for our kids. We are a place that is teaching the skills of resilience and recognizing that our kids are going to be more able to handle the tough things that are coming down as life, continues as they continue to grow and experience all of the wonderful and difficult things that life has to offer. So we want them to be resilient, as you pointed out, and we're leveraging the power of art and the power of our community and the connections that it affords to help our kids, be resilient and develop those skills of resilience in the face of adversity. So how do we do that? Just as you said, by encouraging creativity, by offering year-long trauma-informed art groups that are supported by volunteer mentors at a one-to-one ratio with our participating
Mm.
young artists. It is a very, very well-supported environment for our kids. And the projects themselves are intentionally designed to incorporate discussion and opportunities for those kind of conversations around resilience, right? Creating, for example, a sense of balance. While balance is important part of composition and the language of the elements of art, it is also something that we try and strike in our own lives as we think about relationships and responsibilities. Those are, things that our children are thinking about as well as they think about their friends and school. And for some of our kids, particularly, the kids that we've worked with that have experienced difficult traumatic histories, we know that they need some additional support there, right? And the additional time and opportunity to kind of embrace that their own skill and self confidence in making tough decisions and helping themselves to be resilient. So that's kind of what our programs are about. We also provide a number of programs out in the community that are meant really to reinforce and support the whole developmental trajectory of childhood into adolescence. We work with kids as young as preschool age, 3 and 4, and as also
Mm.
high school age, and all of that work, I guess, in addition to working specifically around children that have experienced trauma, is imparting to the community the importance and the value of our creative efforts, of our making, right? Of our efforts at making, whether that is
Yeah.
something as simple as a drawing, as complex as a a sculpture. It doesn't matter what the medium. We could be baking, we could be dancing, we could be singing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Creativity is what matters. That
Yeah, that's such an important thing to keep in mind, as we look at this and we say, oh, well, this is an art thing. And it's really a way of working with all those four life skills in
absolutely.
a way. I mean, that paying attention to what's happening outside you and what's happening inside you, like you're saying, just making that picture, that drawing or giant collage or mural with friends or whatever it is, you're looking for that balance. You're looking for how does this hit me? What does this do for me? Am I reaching, this sense within myself
Right.
as well as conveying it to
Yeah.
others, you
It's
know?
absolutely.
Yeah. So it's got that attention thing. It's got the emotional regulation thing as well
Yeah.
happening in it, right? Because there's the sense of, as you were saying, just the balance in the composition
Yeah.
or the balance with others that I'm working with.
Hmm.
We're learning all those skills just by doing these things that are not simple, by
Right.
the way. And that leads us to the next one of getting through the tough times. And how do we use, these other skills and the skills of making art or making music or making a cake or frankly doing a math problem or figuring out an engineering problem, all of those
What?
things sort
Yeah.
of sort of fit right together. So it's not that this is about painting and drawing, but it's not entirely about painting and drawing.
It's about, and painting and
So,
drawing very
yeah,
fortunately become this amazing vehicle for this skill, right? We get to
yeah.
use painting and drawing and baking and all of the arts really to we use as trial and error, and we learn that
Mm,
language, and that language, it's in front of us too, right? We are able to look at it as sort of somewhat objectively as well, and
yeah.
examine our successes and our struggles with the making. Um, and
Yeah.
when we're doing that, when we're practicing that, that generalizes to some of our decision making outside, and that's
Oh, that is so perfect of an analogy that it's not actually an analogy. It's how things really are.
How it's working.
It's confronting our own struggle. It's like, this is not working. I was in the advertising business, and we would say that to other people who were working on a piece of art or a piece of writing. We would be like, this is not working. And they would have to go back to their desk with that,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
and
and this,
oh, that, what a practice. What,
and it's something that each of us has the opportunity to really engage in. And I think, the reality is that as we're kind of coming up in our adolescence and young adulthood, unfortunately, we kind of put our creativity sometimes to the side, our creative endeavors and our practices, the things that we enjoyed, dancing or art or what have you, for more adult kinds of coping skills, what have you. I mean, we've talked about some of that in the past, right?
right?
The reality is that this is an extremely healthy, positive, and constructive way
Totally.
of managing.
Yeah.
So returning to it as adults can be a very, very powerful thing. But just integrating it, and as I say, that's what we're really trying to incorporate with our kids. We're really trying to get them to pick up and be creative entirely on their own, and create their own practices through
Yeah.
whatever material, whatever modality that they pick, you know.
Yeah. So how will that look in Rainbow Day?
So for a rainbow party, we will have many, many options because we know that there's not just one solution. There's not just one art material. So we will have a number of projects set out. And our rainbow party in the past has been such a celebration of love, right? And such a celebration of love of one another, and love of our community and each other, and all of the differences that are involved there, right? So it's a chance for us to get together and celebrate that. And we do that by recognizing that there's so many ways to show it, and we're going to have materials. Oops, sorry. We're going to have materials out that will support a handful of projects, probably about 5 or 6 different projects that kids can work on.
Mm,
Sure, delivering important criteria around LST.
yeah. So I guess the other question that I have, just, sort of logistically, is ages of kids. Is this for everybody? Is this
So it is. We
ah,
have certainly we've got a range of kids already registered. So we've got kids as young
cool.
as 6 and 7, and as old as 12 and 13, I believe now are
Wow,
registered. So
great.
and our projects, you've got to just come and want to make some cool stuff, and ultimately there's going to be some really cool snacks, and everybody's going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I don't, I know how to make a fun time, and Barnstone will be ready for action
Yeah.
to put
Yeah.
together for the Rainbow Party.
Yeah. So so the power of making, for me, sort of rolling this out, we put it together with this getting through tough times, because one of the things I've found in my life, and maybe you found this as well, Sean, is that when I need a break from the little me that is feeling really under siege, it's like, this is a tough moment in my life, to be able to just say, and I have this project that I'm working on.
Right,
For me as a professor, it's almost always a work thing.
right.
It's here at the university, it's a project that I'm working on, and I can throw myself into that for a while and let it take me over. I do a good job because I'm focused and I'm giving it my all.
Right.
When I give it my all, it's kind of, I'm this bigger thing. I'm not this hurting thing. I'm this thing that's got all of the systems going. I'm really paying attention in the world in a different kind of way. And then when I have to go back to that thing that's got me, I can go back a little more fresh.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
And
And that's
what can I ask? Would you call what you were just describing as a sense of agency? Would you describe it?
yeah, I would say yeah,
Yeah,
because I'm running up against this thing that's not giving. And then I go out in the world and I do something that I can do.
yeah, generative.
I can make a difference,
Yeah,
in whatever way that it is, that project, that thing, whether it's baking a cake for someone
yeah,
or, creating a course in the college,
yeah.
that's yeah.
That's really cool. Really cool. And yeah, that is such an important thing. And it's been my experience too, since we're sharing some of our personal experiences. It's been my experience that the more frequent I am in touch and in dialogue with that creative endeavor, right? The more
Yeah,
frequently I am in touch with that, the more able I am to turn from that, to take that time, right? To turn from that thing that is creating some stress or, I need a break from, turning and engaging. I'm much more ready and able to do that when I'm in frequent contact, right? So it speaks to my need to have, to call it a practice and to be engaged
yeah.
in it pretty routinely, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, that's definitely the term that I like to use as well, is that do you have a practice?
Right.
And so when I think of this, I often think, because I'm in the health biz in a way,
Sure.
I often think of physicians and they have a practice, you know. Just I also have a practice as somebody who goes fly fishing, you
Oh, yes,
So I am practicing, because it's all practice.
absolutely. Everything is
It's
practice.
it's it's never that's it.
Yes, yes,
It's always practice. And to have our kids understand the joy of that, the joy of, oh, this picture isn't working. Yeah,
no, yeah,
yet.
right,
What
right,
do I do? How do I make it work?
right,
Oh, that's when I really go in and dig down deep in me
right,
and get to that sense of agency and get to that sense of resilience
right, right.
over and over again.
Right. Am I going to try something in that moment? Am I going to try something new because I have, because I feel confident and I've done new things before? Or am I going to be able to pull something from a repertoire of ideas and skills that I've already started to develop? In those moments, so much really wonderful brains, connectivity and, it's just
Yeah,
so wonderful in those moments to see what kids will come up with, and the solutions that their brains come up with. It's magical. Really, really.
yeah, yeah. And so, it is sort of training for life, making a picture. It's training for life, It's not something that is, oh, well, that's very nice.
Right,
And okay, we'll put it on the refrigerator. That's not what's happening at all.
right.
As you're saying, there are parts of the brain that are changing.
Oh, absolutely. We're
Yeah,
building architecture in some of those
yeah,
moments. Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty incredible.
So from those very first crayons at the table, on the table.
On the table, on the wall. Hey,
Yeah,
that is optimal childhood development right there.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I had
It's-
access and I used the material the way it was supposed to be used. So it
yeah,
was on the wall.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
And I learned something. And, yeah, and now I have a tool that I may not use again, or may use later
yeah. Well, but hopefully
when it's appropriate.
my
Yeah,
caregivers are going to structure my environment to give me lots of opportunities like that again, right? Because that early kinetic or kinesthetic activity is so important, and giving kids the opportunity to say, hey, to recognize I made that mark, that's a big deal.
yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I was very lucky in that I had a music teacher who, when I would make a quote mistake, which is how some people think of it, would say, well, that was really interesting. It's not what we were trying to do, but it's
right.
interesting. So don't let go of that. Don't throw that away. Don't say no. You might want it someday, but
Yes.
let's
Well,
try
he
the
did.
other one now.
That's a great teacher.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's really sort of my ideal for how we learn best is, we're trying.
Yep.
We're discovering things. We're not being wrong. We're discovering. Yeah,
Excellent.
cool. You know what I discovered
What's that?
that Zoom will do for you, and this has a little bit to do with Barnstone.
Uh-huh.
And so if you make a heart,
Do that.
you can get it depends on what version of
Nice.
Zoom you have,
Nice.
but
I really like my heart. Aw.
uh,
I'll try it one more time.
maybe you need a different background. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I must need that.
Yeah. So,
You saw my
but
heart.
at any rate,
That's pretty cool.
I'm just being creative using something that I
A
knew,
novelty.
learned in a different, situation.
Exactly right.
So
That's right.
that's what we're
Yeah, we're
after.
engaging with novelty right now as we see on the
Yeah.
75th
Yeah,
edition.
the 75th Zoom meeting. That's some kind of a notch in the wall there,
Definitely
for
is.
sure.
Definitely
Yeah. Yeah.
is. Congratulations for that.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm going to say it again.
Okay.
At Barnstone Art for Kids in Phoenixville, June 14th, 10 to noon. Come out, experiment, learn some things, do some things that you didn't intend, and see what comes out of it.
Absolutely.
That's fun too. So come on out, and parents, we'll talk. We'll walk through the four life skills and how great it is that you brought your kids and what they're going to learn and how you can continue that so that we have a community full of resilient children. I mean, it's only good for all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said.
Well, Sean, thank you so much. This is terrific today, this
It is my
recording,
pleasure.
and it's gonna be terrific on the 14th. So,
100% yes.
all
Thank you
right.
so much, Dr. McCown.
Okay.
Absolutely.
See you soon.
See you soon.